Hello everyone, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. I forgot to change out my water. Okay, now I'm ready. We are going to be painting another landscape because I'm not very good at like subjects. I like painting landscapes a lot more. We're going to be painting this, like, I would call it a camping mood, but it is going to be a beautiful mountain sunset, or the intention is for it to be beautiful. Whether it turns out beautiful will be revealed in however long it takes me to paint this. But we're going to start out with blue, like a mixing blue with purple or something like that. I'm just trying to achieve like a really deep bluish lilac purple color. And I'm still trying to figure this palette out, to be honest. So anyway, that's going to be the top of our gradient. I didn't tape this piece of paper because I tape all of them, so I want some variety, I guess you can say. So we're gonna fade this into a pink color. And I'm actually going to fade it this way, or blend it. I keep saying fade, I do mean blend. Whenever you're making a gradient out of two colors and one is significantly darker than the other, I encourage you to do less of the darker color than you think you will need, because the darker color tends to overpower the lighter one, and then you're stuck doing what I'm trying to do right now. So start with the lightest color first if you can. So I'm just gonna go into like an orange now, here. And it's going to kind of go on the sides like this. And that's going to fade into yellow. So just this kind of one area is supposed to be yellow, and then the rest, it kind of goes back into a pink on the side. I didn't do a very good job of that though. This bottom part doesn't matter too much. I'm just blending it out so that it doesn't create any like cauliflower issues later on, but we are going to be overlapping this with a solid color, so I'm not too concerned about this area here. So that looks pretty good so far, I would say. Now, we want this to dry just a little bit because right now it's a little bit too wet to do what I want to do. I want to create these clouds over top, but if I put them on now, because the background is so wet, they're just going to like spread out like this and they're not going to look very nice. So I have to wait a little bit for this to dry. I don't like using a hair dryer when I only need it partially dry, because sometimes it dries it too quickly and then I can't do what I wanted to do. But I think I'm going to use the hair dryer anyway, just to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so some sections are way too dry, as I thought, but that's okay. We will make this work. So I'm using kind of like the original blue up top here, or at least I'm trying to achieve that blue, and we're going to be painting some clouds over top, but I want them to be very, they're not like individual clouds like I tend to paint, but they're more joined together, kind of like a haze. So that's what I'm gonna try and create here. The issue is that because this is partially dry, I know it's going to cauliflower, which is really unfortunate, but I can't do anything about it now. So I'm just gonna continue on with my plan and hope that it doesn't cauliflower. So see how I'm kind of bunching it all up instead of painting these individual clouds. Like I will still have some individual areas, but it's more of like a flattened cloud, if you will. And I'm using the edge of my brush to achieve this look. Why do I do this? This happens to me so often. I'm not paying attention and I like just drop my paintbrush or touch a piece of the paper where I didn't want it to go, and luckily I am painting a silhouette there later, so it's going to be painted over, I hope. Okay, I think I'm I'm starting to overdo it with the clouds. So I'm gonna start tapering off a little bit. before this just becomes cloud central. It already kind of is. Yeah, so I'm gonna not do any more clouds. What I am gonna do now is paint the mountains that you will be able to see kind of just above, and that's gonna create our horizon line almost. And I want to use a very vibrant blue for that part, but it also has to be dark at the same time. Dark, vibrant blue. So I mixed a few blues together, added some black. I think I've achieved kind of what I'm looking for. So these mountains are just going to be, okay, that is definitely not the blue that I wanted. Let's see, that's more of the blue that I wanted, okay. And I want to make it much lighter the closer we get to the sun. Oops. So I kind of want these rolling peaks almost. I mean, I do want some of them to be actual peaks. These probably should be a tad bit higher, simply because I'm going to be painting another layer over top. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of, I used this in a previous tutorial. It's a metallic whitish silver color, but it adds this really nice like lightened shimmer to a painting. So I'm going to add that to the blue so that it shimmers a bit. At least in the part where it's supposed to be a little bit lighter. So really I just have to add these kind of rolling shadows to suggest that these are rolling mountains or hills, or they have crevices and peaks and whatnot. Something like that should be fine. So I'm gonna let those dry, and then we can do like the final thing that's gonna make this all come together. Okay, so when your painting is dry, up until this point, we're gonna take black watercolor and create the foreground of this painting. So there's going to be a pine tree coming out on this side. Actually, I'm going to switch to a bigger brush, to my size 8. So this foreground, I'm gonna have, like, I'm not gonna do these pine trees throughout the whole thing, because that would take, 1, it would take too long, and 2, it would take away from these mountains that we've painted, in my opinion. So it's just going to be like this solid foreground with a few pine trees sticking out for accent details and whatnot. We can even paint like kind of fake shrubs or whatever. And you can add a couple more random spots. And I'm gonna have like a really large pine tree on one side. Just so there's a little bit of, what do you call it, composition? That your composition is unique. Whenever I hear that word, I think of my high school art teacher. Oh, I loved her. She was my favorite teacher, and she was Irish or Scottish, sorry. So she had this really, I loved her accent. I really did. And she was a big fan of me too. Like, I did really poorly on the art history portion of the course because I just didn't care, and I still don't really care about art history. For me, it was always the application, the practical part of art that I was interested in. Not saying it's not, history isn't important or anything, it's just not what I was interested in. But she was a really good sport about all that. Okay. I think I'm satisfied with this. I quite like how that turned out. Let me know what you guys think. What would you change? Would you do anything different? Let me know what you think. Hit like on this video if you liked it. Comment down below. Subscribe if you would like to see more of these kinds of tutorials, and I will see you in the next one.